What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Lakers Outsiders podcast. Gary Kester here with you, as always, joined by my Pau Gasol. I guess now it's my Julius Randle. Hani Amadian joins me today. Hani, how's it going?
Pretty good. Don't forget to call me Colin Kaepernick once in a while, since somebody did that in the YouTube comments last time I was on one of these. I'll take all of those.
Well, I guess we're gonna lose the Texans owner isn't gonna watch our podcast then.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
Hey, anytime I can throw shade at the Texans, man, I'm good with it. So, but anyways, let's talk about the Lakers tonight. They dropped a 2-3 on the evening or on the season with a 101-92 loss to the Toronto Raptors. Hani's like probably second favorite team. So, Hani, were you conflicted at all watching the Raptors play well in the second half?
They're my second favorite team after the Brooklyn Nets, just to be clear.
Oh, okay. The Brooklyn D'Angelos.
Yeah. No, I wasn't conflicted. I do love the Raptors. I love a bunch of their players, but when they're playing the Lakers, I'd start hating them a little more.
All right. Well, so we know who the favorite child is, at least. All right. Well, the Lakers, as I mentioned, lost tonight by 9. Close game. Pretty tough battle. Lakers started out really, really fast, and then the Raptors kind of took over in the second half. Really good test for this Lakers team, going up against one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. If you look at the Raptors' results, I know it's only a couple games in here. We're only about a week into the season, but their 2 losses on the year are close losses at San Antonio and at Golden State, if I'm not mistaken. 2 very, very good losses, if you want to call them that. Honey, I mean, what jumped out to you about the Lakers tonight? Maybe good, bad. There was kind of a lot of both, I would say. But what stood out to you the most about the Lakers' performance against the Raptors?
Definitely a lot of both. But to go on the positive side, I'm starting to become a little irrationally optimistic about their defense. They've been one of the 2 worst defenses, I would say, for like the past 5 years, 4 years maybe. But this year, so far, I think they've been in the top half in defensive rating so far. They have the personnel a little bit more than recent years. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope on the perimeter is definitely a force to be reckoned with defensively. Brook Lopez, he's not known as a defender, but he's a big guy that can protect the rim to an extent. He moves around fairly well, probably better than Mozgov did last year. A little bit more mobile in that sense. Julius Randle has been a beast defensively these past few games, and if he keeps that up, he's just this versatile force that can do a little bit of everything on that end. But yeah, the Lakers just have a lot of length now. They have guys that are maybe not good defenders per se, but they can be disruptive at least, and that's helping them out a ton. And these last few games, I think people will kind of look at the points they give up to teams like the Suns and the Pelicans, and it might seem like the defense is bad, but a lot of that is just because of the pace of these games. They're playing so fast and there's so many possessions that the point total goes up. But like in terms of efficiency, they've been really good. And to all these Raptors that have been really good offensively to start the year to however many points it was, I already forgot. What is it? 101?
101.
Basically tacos if they won the game almost. That's a pretty solid outing, and I don't think we should be expecting them to keep this up the whole year because it's the Lakers and defense just doesn't happen anymore. But if they can at least keep showing growth from what they were last year, it's making me a little bit of an optimist in that sense.
I'm kind of skeptical because of the way they started last season. They started out really, really fast last year and was like, oh, wow, like these guys might be better than we thought they were. And then reality came calling, came crashing back to earth. But so I'm a little kind of like want to see how it plays out over time. But defensively, this is the best they've looked in a long time. just kind of watching some film, whether it's hustle plays or it's, having the ability to switch a lot of things with the versatile lineups and things like that. They look a lot better on that end of the floor so far this year, which is nice to see, because I feel like last year, whenever they won games, they had to outscore teams. That's really all they could do. And this year it's a little different because they're, like you said, they're able to get stops. That was the key thing with the Wizards game, is like they were actually able to get stops and timely stops when they needed them. So, yeah, I mean, I like this team, and I think because you were running the account tonight, Lakers Outsiders on Twitter, and you quote tweeted one of the Raptors beat writers talking about the length of the Lakers and what they were doing defensively, kind of disrupting what the Raptors wanted to do. And obviously they adjusted in the second half because they outscored the Lakers 56-41 in the second half. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, probably one of the best perimeter defenders the Lakers have had in a while.
Yeah.
Ingram has his moments because of his length and his versatility on that end, but still kind of growing into that role on that end of the floor. Like you mentioned, Lopez offers some rim protection. I think he's an adequate rim protector. I think he's far from elite, but he has his moments like he showed tonight. And I mean, Lonzo is going to have moments where he gets just cooked on that end of the floor, but he's also had some moments like against John Wall where I think his on-ball defense was pretty good. So
it's definitely been better than I expected. Like his on-ball defense, especially, I did not expect Lonzo to be as good as he has been. Off-ball is a different story. Like he got back cut really badly today. I don't remember who it was by. I think it might have been Pascal Siakam. I think it was who it was, but he just got cooked on a back cut, and I was laughing about it. But his on-ball defense, like you said, has been pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pleasantly surprised in that category. And the thing with Lonzo is that, for him, I was looking at some numbers last night, and he's shooting under 30% on jump shots that are considered either open, which is 4 to 6 feet is the closest defender, or wide open, which is 6+ feet away. He's shooting under 30% on those. And, we saw last year at UCLA that he is a very capable jump shooter. So I'm hoping that those percentages start to kind of balance out over time, and he starts to kind of get his feet under him and start knocking down those open jumpers. Because I think once he's able to do that, that'll open up a lot of different things for him offensively, because he's such an excellent passer, and he's a good rebounding guard. He stuffs the stat sheet. And, for him, it's going to be just knocking down shots. And, when he was able to do that in the Phoenix game, the Lakers offense really, really clicked. Now, of course, it's the Phoenix Suns, one of the, worst teams in the league, probably. So there's a caveat there, but I think once he starts knocking down shots offensively, because we saw them really, really stall down the stretch of this game. I think they got stuck on 83 points for the longest time, and Toronto really made their run there. But the guy that really stood out to me again tonight was Julius Randle. I've said this many times on the podcast. I will die on that hill. Julius Randle Island, like, I'm going to stay there. I'm not looking to escape from it. They got to get this guy more minutes. I mean, I get, wanting to have him come off the bench and just feast against these second units, but this is this is multiple games in a row now that he's just been fantastic. I think defensively especially is where I'm noticing the improvement in his game. We haven't really seen the jumper a whole lot, but what have you noticed with Randall's defensive ability that's just so much different than what we've seen from him in the past?
He definitely looks a lot more focused. He's rotating much more quickly, which is why he's been able to actually protect the rim a lot as a small ball center, which is kind of amazing, really not something we're used to seeing. And then on top of that, his hands have been really quick. He's stripping the ball. I think I saw Ben Rosales tweeting about this, but a few times tonight he disrupted the Raptors' offensive possessions just by stripping the ball from their guys driving in. But I'm also wondering if this is sort of like what the Warriors do with Draymond Green a little bit, where once they play him as a center, it looks like he's a lot more engaged just because he has to be. Because he knows that he's the anchor of that defense and he has to protect the rim. Maybe Randall playing as a small ball center as much as he has recently, I think the last 2 games, almost all his minutes have been as a small ball center. Maybe that kind of lights the fire under him to make him go like 110% on that end, and it's definitely working. He's been amazing the last couple of games.
Yeah, there was one GIF that I made during the game on my own personal account. I was, obviously sending some out on the Lakers Outsiders account, but one GIF that I noticed that, I think it was, I want to say OG Anunoby drove the lane and Randall stepped up, defended his shot, which forced him to kick it out, altered that sequence there. And then I can't remember who it was that drove to the basket, but Randall got immediately back in the play and defended the rim on the layup, forced the miss, and then grabbed the rebound in traffic. Then later quickly got poked away from him, and then I think they committed a foul. But that's the type of effort that I like to see, especially from Randall, because that's been his major weakness is on the defensive end. And I think that's why the small ball lineup with him and Kuzma and like Ingram or even Corey Brewer, different guys, just they can switch so many different things, and at times it's kind of frustrating because I think they switch when they don't need to. But I think with Randall and Kuzma out there together, their versatility just helps them in so many different ways, because they are capable of staying in front of guards and capable of kind of funneling them one way or like different things like that. So I've been so impressed with Julius Randle. I think when his energy is what it has been these past few games, he is so effective. And I've had people tell me, when he gets like a double-double, like, his stats look nice, but he doesn't really impact the game. I think now he's making a big impact on the game, especially defensively. Offensively, he still got, I think he had a few really nice drives to the bucket today. I think he had Jakob Poeltl on him a few times and really just kind of used his foot speed to get by him. But yeah, I've been impressed with Randall defensively. And I think, honestly, I don't want to attribute the bulk of the defensive improvement to him, but I think it has a lot to do with him specifically, because he was such a kind of a weak link in the past couple of years on that end. He just gave up a lot of looks that he shouldn't. And now it seems like as that small ball five, he's, like you said, he's much more engaged and he's just much more active on that end. And, it's great to see. It's great to see, because I think we've kind of been waiting for that to happen, because I don't think he's ever going to be like an elite rim protector, because he's, he's 6'9", he's got kind of shorter arms, doesn't have great length and so on and so forth. If he can overcome that, that's great. But as long as he's a guy that can stay in position defensively, because he's so big and strong, it's hard to move him off of his spots. And if he's just in positions defensively that can help the team, whether it's just rotating over, drawing charges, whatever, he can be a very, very good positional defender. And I think that's progress for the Lakers. To be in the right position, period, defensively, is a huge improvement over recent years. So,
and he's such a Swiss Army knife on that. Like, when he is on, he can do everything defensively. He's quick enough to stay with guards. He's strong enough to guard bigger guys in the post. He's athletic enough to like bother shots at the rim, even if he's not blocking them because of his length. He can literally do everything. And then once he gets a stop, he can be the guy to be the catalyst to Marcelo to turn defense into offense and go the other way and get a bucket on the other end of the floor too. So he's super valuable if he can actually keep this up. And like the last 2.5 games or so, he has been. And it's really impactful for the Lakers, like you said. Yeah,
hopefully it's something that keeps up. And I think if it does, it's something that he's definitely got to get more minutes. And on that note, let's talk about Luke Walton's rotations a little bit, because I think his substitutions in the fourth quarter really, really hurt the Lakers. They had a lineup in there that was working really, really well. It was this kind of the small ball second unit lineup. I would have liked to see him sub in Brandon Ingram for Corey Brewer just to get a little more offensive punch. Mm-hmm. But instead he subbed in 4 of the starters at the time. I can't remember what minute mark it was, but the Lakers were in a tight battle. I believe it was like 83. I think it was tied to 83 or something close to that. And then they subbed in Lonzo Ball, KCP, Brook Lopez, and Larry Nance Jr. and left Corey Brewer out there. And then Ingram would come in later on. And then after a couple minutes, he subbed them all right back out. And because I think the lineup that they had out there was working really well, because you had Randall, you had Kuzma, you had Josh Hart, you had Corey Brewer, and I believe the other was Jordan Clarkson. I mean, I would like to replace Clarkson in that lineup with Lonzo Ball, just because I think you get, some playmaking, and you're going to get some passes that lead to probably better shots than what Clarkson gets, especially because this wasn't a great game for Clarkson. But I think the way he handled the substitutions in the fourth quarter really, really hurt the Lakers, because I think Hart was playing extremely well, and it just seemed like that lineup was battling. Like it wasn't, they weren't running away with it. They weren't in the middle of a run or anything, but they were battling with the Raptors starters down the stretch. And it seemed like when they got subbed out, it was all downhill after that. I mean, am I crazy? Or, this has been an issue of mine with Luke Walton for a while. So am I overreacting, or have you noticed kind of the lineups are just been kind of funky and they need to be a little bit better?
Definitely noticed that. I would say, I think I kind of understood why he pulled them out in the first place. I think he kind of wanted to get those guys a breather and have them finish the game. But he probably stuck with the starting lineup a little bit too long, because the Raptors went on an 8-0 run, I believe, that basically ended the game. And then the other issue I have with Luke's lineups is that it seems like he really is intent on keeping units together. Like, he doesn't mix and match a lot. He doesn't stagger them. Once he put that small ball lineup in, he put Randall and Kuzma in, which was like, hey, good. We have playmaking, a little bit more shooting. But then he took Lonzo out at the same time, and then kept Corey Brewer in. So, like, it's a lot of – we added playmaking to the front court and then took the playmaking out of the back court, which I just didn't understand. And I think that's probably the biggest criticism I have of Luke Walton over the last year and 5 games now, is that he is – super intent on having a strong bench unit because of, I'm guessing, his time with the Warriors, where they did. Because of that, he's really adamant about not changing those lineups at all. Like, he always wants to play those guys together. He always wants to play the starters together. And sometimes it's just like matchups don't work out. Sometimes guys have on or off nights. You got to be able to adapt a little bit more on the fly. And I don't think he does that as much. And he was good at it against the Wizards. Like, that Wizards game, he did a great coaching job. He left the small ball lineup in because he saw Randall affecting the defense so much that he was fine keeping him in as the center, even after only playing like 6 minutes in the first half. Like, he changed that on the fly, and that was great. But he didn't do that tonight.
Yeah, that was the thing with the Wizards. They finished with the lineup that I call the shin kicking lineup. It's not like the death lineup. So I don't think they'll just like murder you, but like repeated kick in the shins, like something that's very, very painful and very annoying. It was what, Lonzo Ball, KCP, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and Julius Randle, right? That they finished with the Wizards. And I mean, for me, that's the lineup I would prefer to see tonight. I would have liked to have seen Josh Hart finish that game, they did finish it, but that substitution, just the platoon swaps are annoying, like you said. I mean, keeping entire lineups together, it's like, no, man, you got to mix and match. Like, you mentioned his time with the Warriors, and it's like, oh well, if only we had the Warriors roster, we could do that, but we don't. And that's the thing, is like with the Lakers, they might not have elite talent, but I think they have enough versatility that you can mix and match a lot of times, with these lineups. And he just doesn't seem to want to do that. It just seems to try and keep certain units together. And it's like, when you look at the plus minus for tonight, I know I say this every time I bring it up, but it's, not the most reliable stat. But I think tonight was telling. You look at the starters, I mean, minus 14, minus 15, minus 21, minus 15, minus 17. And then you look at, like, Julius Randle was plus 14 in 24 minutes. And Kuzma was plus 3. Tyler Ennis was plus 6. I don't know how the hell that happened. But I mean, everybody on the bench unit was positive tonight. And I think that's because they went kind of with the more not traditional, just more unorthodox, I guess, small ball lineup. And they really did work against the Raptors with the small ball lineups that they could just push tempo a little bit more. They could be a little faster, switch a lot of things defensively, and space the floor. And I think that's why Randall. I mean, I think that helped Randall play much better because he's out there with Kyle Kuzma, right? He's out there with guys that can actually space the floor, except for Corey Brewer, but he stands on the 3-point line, so I guess that's good. But yeah, I'd like to see him mix and match a little bit more, have less of the platoon swaps. Like, I want to see that lineup that finished against the Wizards more often because that lineup was super effective, and it was effective against a good team. So I'd like to see it a little more often. But
that spacing issue you said with Randall, that's another like problem it's really the same problem, but like I think he and Brook Lopez have played together like maybe 10 minutes total this entire year at most. Like that's another issue when they traded for Brook Lopez after we got done being sad about D'Angelo being gone. The biggest point I had to make about that was that Lopez should be able to help out Julius Randle the most on this roster because he gives them a shooting center. And like Brook Lopez might not even actually be a good shooter. He had 1 year where he shot a lot of threes and was good at it. So we don't even know if that's sustainable, but he takes his defender out to the 3-point line, and that's all that matters.
We have the idea that he's a good 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
So it's the thought that counts, honey.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it is important. Like, it might not be him scoring from the 3-point line, and nobody on the team scored from the 3-point line today, but
yeah.
The fact that he can pull out a guy 15, 20 feet away from the rim helps a guy like Julius Randle, who can beat pretty much anybody in this league off the dribble. As long as, he doesn't have to shoot over a 7-foot guy at the rim.
Well, I think we saw it a lot with the Phoenix game. There was with Brook Lopez down the stretch, just it opened up the court so much, and because people looked at kind of the shots Lonzo was getting in the fourth quarter of that game, and it was a lot of wide open layups, and it's like, yeah, because their center has to go stand on the 3-point line to stick with Brook Lopez, so that opens up so much, and all it takes is a split second for those guys to hesitate, and you've got an open layup. If they think for a minute, do I stick with Brook Lopez or do I dive down? And then if they do, I mean, you throw it to Brook Lopez and hope that he can knock it down. Because like you said, I mean, it's we have this idea that he's a good 3-point shooter based off of last season, and every time he shoots it, I'm like, if it's open, I think he's gonna make it. But if it's a defender somewhere near, I tend to think that he's gonna miss. But it's a good thing to have. I mean, as an option, I just hope it doesn't become something that they rely too heavily on, because Lopez is very, very creative and very crafty in the paint, around the basket, finishing very awkwardly. But it's not how it looks. It's a matter if it goes in or not. And Lopez is pretty effective down there in the paint. So I'd like to see them mix and match that a little bit more. So
and less Larry Nance post-ups, please.
Oh man, don't even.
I did that for like 5 possessions in a row, and I was like pulling my hair out.
It's like, yeah, no, I mean, Nance was 3 for 3 tonight, but I swear none of them were because of post-ups. I mean, there was one, I think he caught it with his back to the basket, but then faced up and then went to the basket. Like, that's somewhat better, but it's like, can we stop throwing the ball to Larry Nance Jr. and then clearing out? Like, it's not his game. He looks uncomfortable.
They moved everybody to the other side of the floor on one of the post-ups. I'm like, what is this poor guy supposed to do?
I mean, you can tell, like, that's not his game. Like, he looks uncomfortable doing that. I mean, like, what are we doing, guys? Like, the offensive execution just got to be so much better. And that's happened, from time to time. The Lakers tend to stand and watch a lot, especially when they dump it down in the post to whoever, whether it's Larry Nance Jr., Brook Lopez, Julius Randle. They like to stand and watch. So at least get some cutters or some guys to flash over to the ball or whatever. But yeah, hopefully that's something that improves. Tomorrow, it's going to be another test for this offense because the Utah Jazz are sitting there waiting for the Lakers to come into town on the second night of a back-to-back. And the Jazz are coming off a loss to the Phoenix Suns, so I'm sure they can't be very happy. They're 2-3 as well. Honey, how do you feel about this matchup tomorrow? It's the second back-to-back of the season for the Lakers, and the last time they were on a back-to-back, they lost the first one and won the second one in Phoenix. This is their second road game of the year, and they're undefeated on the road. Can they keep that undefeated record on the road?
Might actually go 41-0 on the road this year. They could still do it.
Talking into existence.
I'm really interested because it's kind of strength versus strength, or actually no, weakness versus strength on both ends. Like the Jazz aren't very good at scoring the ball. The Lakers so far have been really good at good on the defensive end, and then the opposite side, Lakers have struggled offensively a lot, and the Jazz are one of the elite teams defensively. Mm-hmm. I think the guy you really got to watch for is Rudy Gobert because he's obviously probably the best defensive. He is definitely the best defensive center in the league, one of the best defenders in general in the league.
Except for small ball Julius Randle.
Yeah, hopefully. And actually, going back to the same point that we made of Julius Randle and Brook Lopez, I would love to see that in this game because Brook Lopez should be the sort of guy that pulls Gobert out of the lane a little bit at least and hopefully clears stuff out for Randle to kind of cook against that lineup.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Gobert was a problem in their preseason meeting. It's preseason, so I don't try to take too much away from it. But, I mean, every time they play, it seems like Gobert is just a nightmare for the Lakers. And, I mean, he's a nightmare for the whole league. Like, there's a reason why he's an elite rim protector. I mean, he's has tremendous length. He's super athletic. Just great defensive instincts. And another issue with him that I've also noticed every time they play the Lakers is the Lakers have to really try and contain dribble penetration, especially on pick and rolls, because when the guard is able to come off, or just the primary ball handler is able to come off those screens and really attack the Lakers' big guys, all they got to do is get it up towards the basket, and all of a sudden Rudy Gobert is in prime position for an offensive putback. So that's a big point of emphasis as well. A lot of people kind of point to Gobert's defense naturally because he's very, very good at it. But if you're not careful on the offensive glass, he can really punish you down there as well. So that's where I'd like to see, like you said, I'd like to see Randle and Lopez together a little bit more because Randle is a very good rebounder. Lopez isn't a great rebounder. He has his moments, but just having Lopez's size and length and Randle's strength down there together, I think you might have a little bit of success keeping Gobert off the boards. But that's going to be the key to me. The key to me is going to be how do they slow down Rudy Gobert, because he's been just such a problem for them every time they play. And I mean, another thing is going to be limiting what the Jazz do from the 3-point line, because it seems like we saw it in the preseason game. It was Donovan Mitchell, but I feel like in the past couple of years, it's been Rodney Hood that just torches them from the 3-point line. So, yeah, I mean, they're just going to have to be solid defensively, which is, I mean, kind of asking a lot, I would say, because they're on the second night of a back-to-back on the road and one of the toughest venues to play. But I'll be there, so I'll be cheering them on, and hopefully they feel my energy. And
that's a confirmed win.
I hope so, man. I feel like I haven't seen a Laker win live and well, I've seen them in summer league, but like regular season, I feel like I haven't seen it in a while. So
the only Laker game I've been to was like a 30-point blowout loss to the Kings. So you're doing better than me, buddy.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time they won in front of me, honestly. So I mean, don't count on me to bring good luck tomorrow. It's probably not going to happen, but it should be fun. It should be fun. It's another good test for this team early on. We'll see. Hopefully they can bring the defensive effort that they've had the past couple games, because I think defensively they've been pretty solid. I think there were some plays tonight where the Raptors, their offensive talent was just better. Yeah. Guys like Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, they can hit tough shots. We saw that with the Wizards. Bradley Beal can make tough shots, and sometimes that's how it goes when you play against great players. But oh man, I just realized they're playing against Ricky Rubio tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Ricky Rubio is gonna hit 6 threes.
Highly touted Laker killer Ricky Rubio, who is a 3-point shooter 4 times a year every time they play the Lakers.
Oh man. It's okay. At least we'll get to watch him be handsome on the court. And
all right. Well, if you guys see a Laker fan in a Brandon Ingram jersey get ejected, it's because Ricky Rubio wouldn't stop hitting threes, and I threw my hot dog at him. So just
you should yell about Donovan Mitchell not being as good as Devin Booker yet. I hear they get pissed off about that.
All right, I've got some ammo for tomorrow. I'm gonna need it.
Grade A subtweet.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. I will probably not be a part of a podcast tomorrow. I'm going to see if Grant Goldberg can fill in for me. That is if Jacob Rude lets him stay up past his bedtime. And if not, if we don't do the podcast here on YouTube, you can like us on Facebook. Lakers Outsiders. We are going to start doing the Facebook Live broadcast a little more often. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. Hani, you were on it in the last game. So maybe we should plan for that because they won when we were going to have you do a Facebook Live.
Wow. Okay.
Very superstitious, Hani.
They're also 2-2 when I tweet the games and 0-1 when you tweet games. So
yeah, I know they had their worst performance when I did it. So I should just stay away. All right. Well, as always, if you like the podcast, you can subscribe to us here on YouTube. Still working on iTunes. I swear I'll have that up soon. Probably, hopefully, sometime early next week because I'm going to be in Utah starting tomorrow and probably won't be back until Sunday at some point. So, yeah, you can also find us on, like I said, on Facebook. Just go search Lakers Outsiders and we should pop up there, and then Twitter at Lakers Outsiders. And of course, all of our content is on LakersOutsiders.com. We got some big stuff planned. Very excited to kind of unveil some different things this season and just really crank out the content for you guys. So, Hani, I want to thank you for staying up late with me here today to talk about another loss and be kind of sad. Hopefully we can talk about better things tomorrow, but thank you to all of you that joined us live. Love the live viewers, love the comments on the YouTube live stream. Yes, we pay attention. Just so you guys know, somebody called Hani Pow today. I thought that was my thing, but
love you too, Assad.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Be on standby for tomorrow. We'll see what we're going to talk about after the game, so keep an eye out for that. But for Hani Ahmadian, this is Gary Kester with the Lakers Outsiders signing off.
Shout out to Yi Jianlian.